Is Gibby Podcast, the only podcast that brings you the best in wrestling opinions and discussion. Here's your host, Zach the Gibby.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Raw Is Gibby. I'm your host of GIBBY, the man they call Gibby, getting ready to lay the talk down on all things pro wrestling by giving you the best in pro wrestling opinions and discussion. Thank you all for tuning in to this YouTube exclusive edition of the Raw Is Gibby Podcast. If you like this video, please leave a like at the bottom of the video and also subscribe to the Raw Is Gibby YouTube channel, where up there I've got some podcast excerpts from previous episodes of the Raw Is Gibby Podcast. You can check those out, see if you like them. If you do, you go to rawisgibbypodcast.blogspot.com and continue listening on there to listen to the full episodes of the podcast. Also on my YouTube channel, I've got a Total Extreme Wrestling 2005 series going on where I rebuild WCW in 2001. So you guys could definitely go check that stuff out. And I highly urge you to see it, see what I think should have been done during WCW in 2001, try and rebuild them. But anyways, in this video, I'm going to be discussing the whole situation at Destination America, specifically with TNA involved. So we're going to go through a bit of a timeline here. First, I'm going to discuss what happened first. So with TNA being moved to Wednesdays from Fridays on Destination America. Then we're going to talk about the Meltzer report on TNA's apparent cancellation in September, and also talk about the recent news, as of recording, of Ring of Honor joining Destination America. But first, let's just get the first bit of the timeline out of the way. So the first bit there is TNA, after being on the Friday time slot and kind of seeing some dips in ratings and not a big ad revenue, Destination America moved them to Wednesdays to try and maybe reinvigorate some of the ratings, try and get them a little bit higher in a better time slot. Well, not a better time slot, a better day of the week, and maybe try and see the ad revenue go up, which I totally agreed with at the time. I think this was a good move on Destination America's part to really try and give TNA another chance, see if they could try and do something better in a different situation. And I thought this was TNA's chance to prove to themselves that they could work in a primetime slot on a weekday and try and get some better ratings, and hopefully they can try and rebuild a little bit more. As I had been really enjoying some of their television tapings recently with the Dirty Heels. I like the series that they're going with the Wolves. I kind of digging the Magnus James Storm storyline. I like the Eric Young and Kurt Angle storyline. I like some of the storylines. Obviously, with each promotion, you're not going to get perfect all the way. I am totally disliking the bromance stuff, especially what they're doing to Jesse Goddard's. But anyways, moving on from that, I just want to say I had been enjoying their recent television programming. So I was happy to see them move to Wednesday, as I thought it was essentially a second chance by Destination America given to TNA to try and help improve TNA's situation. A couple days later, we got a report from Dave Meltzer stating that in the third quarter of the 2015 year, that being the end of September, that Destination America was not going to continue broadcasting TNA programming. So that's all TNA, Impact, their best of shows, whatever, all that stuff. They were no longer going to continue doing that. Now, I was totally fine with this report. Meltzer is going off the source. He's been doing this all the time. This has been going on for years. He goes by his sources in WWE and TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, all that jazz. He goes by his sources and he's just reporting what is going on to him. Does it make it a good thing? No. But at the end of the day, he's doing what he's being paid to do by the people that subscribe into his newsletter. And that is to report what is going on behind the scenes in WWE through his sources. This is not anything new. News stations do this all the time when they try to find the news. When you see like a fire being burned, those interviews that reporters do, that's a source, people. That's a source of what somebody saw. They couldn't necessarily be right. They couldn't necessarily be wrong, but they're going by the information that is given to them. And that is where the demand is. There's a demand to know what is going on behind the scenes. And Dave Meltzer is just giving in to the demand. So the people who are shooting hard on Dave Meltzer for this report, saying he's anti-TNA, he's going against TNA, it's just kind of ridiculous. Because TNA has been doing this to themselves for years. Their management team has been awful. I had no problem with their television programming. I have no problem with their wrestlers. I have no problem with the production or anything like that. The way that the company was managed and some of the storylines that were being done were absolutely brutal, and TNA should be faulted for that. You shouldn't be giving a pass to TNA all the time. There's way too many times where TNA is given a pass because TNA is TNA. Okay? So let's stop giving TNA a pass and let's stop ripping hard on Meltzer. He's reporting on what is given to him. It's not always necessarily a good thing, but he's doing what he is being paid to do by his subscribers. And that is to try and find as much news as he can and report it. To try and sell some newsletters. To try and make his living. It's just a basic thing of life. So, the response by TNA through this was absolutely ridiculous to me. So, TNA responded essentially saying that they were going to file a lawsuit against, they didn't say Meltzer, but they essentially implied Meltzer in this report. That's like saying, okay, when I go in and I get something from somebody else, let's say I'm a news reporter for a local television station, and I get a report from one of the workers within the company that, there's a problem with the time schedule, okay? Let's say the scheduling is wrong and it's unfair to the workers, okay? So, and then the company goes out of its way to say that my report is wrong, and they then go file a lawsuit because I can't say that stuff about them. It's what I'm reporting. It's called freedom of the press. That is what is happening. He is just using the freedom of the press. He's using what is given to him and giving it to his subscribers in the newsletter. So, this response by TNA, to me, seemed absolutely childish, and the fact that they were trying to throw this guy's, credibility through the ground is quite ridiculous to me. It's very, very sad to see that in a company where their television tapings have been so consistently good, and that the production has been quite good even though they haven't been rumored to be getting paid, that the management team is still not that good. And that the TNA management team still doesn't know what the heck they're doing. This is the same team that when they tried to send an email to the people within TNA, that the people at Destination America were dummies, that Dixie Carter accidentally put in the CC the Vice President of Destination America. When she said that. It's just too simple to say, really. It's just so amazing that TNA would go through this extreme. And all throughout, the wrestlers were saying about all this stuff about their new show on Friday, where they were replaying Slammiversary, and they kept trying to throw in cheap shots at Meltzer. It was just absolutely childish, immature, and pathetic on the part of TNA. Absolutely childish. So, people need to stop with this, and especially the diehard fans of TNA. Sometimes you just gotta look at what you're seeing and realize that there's problems going on. You have to face the reality that sometimes there's things going on in TNA. Not everybody is going against TNA. TNA has been doing this for years. TNA has been shooting themselves in the foot. TNA has been making so many bad decisions, going all the way back to when they hired Russo, when they hired Hogan, when they hired Bischoff. This has been going back for years. TNA has been doing this to themselves. To themselves they've been doing this. So people need to stop trying to defend TNA for everything, because sometimes credit needs to be given where credit is due. And that's what TNA needs to do as well. They need to realize that they have a problem within their company, that they're not doing the things to make them succeed, and try and make changes. That's the problem with TNA. I'm not talking about changing their television programming. Hell, their creative has been quite good. They just need to make some changes in the upper management. Don't change John Garbrick. He's been doing okay. Not too bad. You just gotta change some of the people that's running this place. You can't change Carter, obviously. But there's some other people in there that I question what they're trying to do and their intentions with TNA. But anyways, this whole situation has just been so out of control. And people have been coming out and trying to rip into them and of course into the dirt sheets and ripping the credibility. And of course Josh Matthews didn't make himself look good either when he was trying to go after Samoa Joe. All in all it does when you do that and you respond that way in TNA is that TNA just comes off as children in this. They just come off as children. All they had to do was say, according to the reports, we are being canceled in September. We are continuing business on and assuming that we are going to work in 2016. At least address the situation. Move on from it. Now you've created this whole idea that you are not a responsible company. Especially if this rumor is true that Destination America is going to cancel you in September. You have to show them that you're willing to work hard to try and not give them that chance in their opt-out clause in September. And especially if they're going to do it, you have to look like professionals when you come out so that when you go in for television deals, they don't have a bad sense of you, okay? This is the second time, if this is going to happen, that TNA has been canceled on in 2 years. The second time. That's not going to look good for television stations. So this was absolutely immature on their part, I thought. Again, you may disagree, and I'm totally fine with it, but those are just my thoughts. And now today we have the recent news with Ring of Honor announcing that their programming was now going to be on Destination America as well. Also going to be on Wednesdays, but they are not replacing the TNA time slot. In fact, they are going to be 1 hour earlier than TNA. And according to the contract details from what I've seen, it is a 26-week-long contract, so half a year contract, and it's not a first-run show. What is apparently going to happen is that the shows from on Saturday on the Sinclair broadcasting stations are first going to show, and then they're going to use those shows from Saturday and put them on Destination America Wednesday. Now, a lot of people have been saying, why is this an improvement for Ring of Honor if this was a deprovement for TNA? Because Ring of Honor and TNA are two entirely different companies. TNA had a big basic cable company in Spike that was helping them out, and they were getting over 1 million viewers. Now they're all the way down to 600,000 viewers, and sometimes even less at times, as low as 250,000 at some points. Now, Ring of Honor is moving up. Instead of averaging, I think they were averaging like 300 to 350,000. Now they have a chance to show some more people and try and reach the 500,000 mark. This is a good increase for Ring of Honor. It should have happened earlier, but nonetheless, at least they're getting some improvements and they are trying to expand a little bit. So this is good for Ring of Honor. This is good for both TNA and Ring of Honor that Ring of Honor is now there. Because now TNA is saying, oh gosh, we've got competition within our own TV station that we're broadcasting on. Now what we have to do is try and step up our game, prove to Destination America that we're willing to work with them, we're willing to improve, we're willing to be a better company so that they can prove to Destination America that they belong there. Because it looks like, from what I've seen, that Destination America does want wrestling, but they want some return on it. They do want to be a wrestling hubbub, but they need some return. And that's what they're trying to do. If they don't get it with TNA, they get it with Ring of Honor then. If Ring of Honor does better ratings than TNA in these next couple of weeks, don't be surprised when Destination America announces that they're canceling TNA and putting in Ring of Honor as their new flagship wrestling show. And that's not being biased towards TNA. It's just the hard, cold facts. If TNA doesn't improve the ratings and they don't go back into a landslide downwards, and if Ring of Honor shows that it's willing to get some consistent ratings, even on when they don't have first run shows, then don't be surprised at all, if Destination America says, you know what, we like these people in Ring of Honor, we like the quality shows that they're doing, and hey, they don't get us into hot water like TNA. Because I don't know about you, but TNA has been in so much hot water with some of the things they've done in their company's past, bringing in Adam Pac-Man Jones, bringing in the Survivor chick for that American Bash, not American Bash, but like that big show back in 2009, probably one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. Ring of Honor, the only big thing that's happened that's been negative towards Ring of Honor in terms of a public limelight is when their owner was caught for, I believe it was a sexual act. I don't remember what. I know it was very, very bad and he had to resign, and that's the reason why TNA was able to get all this talent from Ring of Honor. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Jay Lethal, all those big stars from Ring of Honor during 2005. They were able to keep them on TNA programming because they weren't feeling comfortable in that Ring of Honor environment. So now, at this point, Ring of Honor, the only problems they've had have been internal problems, and that has been with iPay-per-view. And I don't know of any other problems that Ring of Honor has had in their company's past, but I would rather work with a company that doesn't have a bad past, than a company that has a bad past and has done bad things, has made poor business decisions, and has slowly been on a decline. I don't know about you. But anyways, this should be interesting from here on out. At least it creates some sort of mini war within the channel station so that both promotions can try and bring the best programming forward, and it'll definitely be more entertaining to wrestling fans. But don't be surprised again. If Ring of Honor does better ratings than TNA, don't be surprised at the end of September when they announce that TNA is no longer going to be continuing on Destination America. Don't be surprised. But anyways, guys, thank you again for listening in to the exclusive Raw Is Gibby YouTube video talking about this whole situation at Destination America. Again, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the Raw Is Gibby YouTube channel. And check out some of the other videos we have there, podcast excerpts, old episodes from 2014, the Total Extreme Wrestling series, whole bunch of good stuff. But again, guys, thank you for tuning in to the Raw Is Gibby exclusive video. And as always, have a good day.